Will you please raise your hands for me if you love marketing? It might be some of you. Does anyone here really love marketing? All right. Well, you're in good hands, my friends, because I'll tell you what. When I started in this industry, I did not love marketing. In fact, I can't say I was a big fan of business in general. I found money kind of intimidating. So for context, when I first moved to New York City, I have a Bachelor of the Fine Arts in Musical Theater. So I moved to New York. I want to be an artist. And I can remember I was so broke. I was so broke. And I lived in this teeny apartment in a 6th-floor walk-up in southern Harlem. And I needed to get a job because I was broke. I used to sit in the one air-conditioned room, which was the living room. So this was August, very hot, just like this August. And I was looking through the Village Voice because I had no furniture, I had no money, I had about $5,000 of credit card debt, I had tens and tens of thousands of dollars of student loans, and I'd flip through the Village Voice, because these were the olden times, and I would call places and try to get jobs. So throughout my 20s, I pursued my career as a bohemian, as an artist, and I worked a series of very demeaning and demoralizing jobs for terrible bosses. And this all incidentally played out against the backdrop of corporate scandal. So I didn't really feel great about marketing or business. And that changed, and the change came from a very unlikely place. So I'm doing my side gigs, and at a certain point I think, okay, well, what if I focus on training? I really love training. Maybe I can train other actors. I was getting very obsessed with it, and I stumbled upon what I call the T-Nation, StrengthCoach.com, Perform Better corner of the industry. So I adopted a number of virtual mentors. You know many of these people, the Mike Boyles, the Dan Johns, the John Berardis. And I have a rule. If there's someone that I admire that has results that I want, if they recommend a book, I read the damn book. I just read the book. So I read a lot of books that gave me a great foundation in strength and conditioning and nutrition and psychology, but they also recommended books about personal development and business. So I started reading books like Conscious Capitalism or Good Business about businesses that are trying to make the world better. And I find marketers like Seth Godin that look at marketing as an act of creativity and generosity. And I hear about businesses like Zappos, the shoe company, or Zingerman's Deli in Ann Arbor, Michigan, that, yeah, they're trying to make money, but they're also trying to help the people that work in that business become better versions of themselves in service of big mission. And I thought that was very interesting. And in many ways, that was the seed that was planted that became the business that is Mark Fisher Fitness, which some of you know of. If not, I'll tell you more about it in a little bit. And I share this context with you because I know I'm not alone. In fact, we just did a little focus group survey, and it seems to have 100% success here, that no one in the room is like, yeah, marketing, let's go. And that makes sense because marketing often sucks, and marketers are often horrible. And none of us want to be annoying. We don't want to be spammy. We don't want to be cheesy. And even at its best, it's a little weird to feel like you're putting yourself out there and promoting yourself to strangers, right? So I want to start by offering you a little reframe, if I may. And this is not a trick question. I expect all your hands to go up. Will you raise your hands if you think you're pretty good at what you do? You're like pretty good at what you do, yeah. Yeah, okay, put your hands down. Raise your hands if you think your clients' lives are going to be better if they work with you. If someone works with you, their lives are going to probably be better, yeah. So here's the big idea. If you take nothing away from our talk today, I want to sell you on the fact that the better you get at telling the world about what you do and how you help people, the better the world will be. The better the world will be. And if you don't like being a marketer, I get it. It's kind of a scorched earth term for a lot of you. Like, I really get that. Like, I say that term, and I'm sure a lot of you are like, I got to grow my business. So don't be a marketer. I like thinking of being a lighthouse, right? I want you to be a lighthouse. I want you to cast out a broad and bright beam and help your clients and your prospects navigate the shores of fitness, because it's tough out there. There's a lot of weird shit people say, And we want them to work with you. We want them to work with you. Now, today's talk, to warn you or maybe get you excited, is going to be very tactical. So this talk, we're going to focus on strategies. We're going to focus on skills that you need to develop to get your next 5 clients. Then we're going to do it without paid ads. However, I wanted to start with mindset because the thing that I have learned, having worked with a lot of gym owners and a lot of fitness professionals, is if there's a part of you that is like pushing against this, if there's a part of you that secretly believes this is immoral or wrong or icky, or if you have imposter syndrome, or you have a little bit of social anxiety and just feels awkward and uncomfortable, that's okay. But I want to name it because I want to heal you of it, right? It's like that movie Inception with Leo, that movie Inception. I want to inception you. I want to enter your dreams and make you clear that it is an unqualified moral good to tell the world what you do and how you can help them. Because there's a cost if we don't get this right, right? And yes, there's a cost to your clients, to your community. There's a cost to our society. But there's a cost to you because it's frustrating if you know you're good at what you do and you don't have enough clients. It sucks. It's frustrating. And listen, we're fitness professionals, so for the most part, we haven't optimized for massive wealth or incredible freedom of time. If you have, you've made a mistake. This was probably the wrong profession. But we did a really cool thing because we optimized for impact. But the reality is, you have to make enough money. So I don't know if this is you, but there were times in my life where I was afraid to look at that bank account, right? Like I was afraid to open up. I didn't want to see it. I didn't want to think about money. And at the end of the day, you don't need to try to be massively wealthy, though that is actually an option today for a lot of people in this industry, but you also can't pour from an empty cup, right? So if you know that even going home over the holidays feels very heavy because your family, or worse, your in-laws, are going to ask you, like, oh, are you still a trainer? Oh, are you still running that gym? And we got to commit to getting good at these skills because whether you want a lot of money or just enough to get by, we have to remove that stressor because you cannot pour out of an empty cup. So if we do our job right today, here's what we're going to get. Here's what we want. We want a trusting audience of people that we have permission to talk to that are looking to us as leaders, as coaches, as teachers. One of my favorite sayings about marketing is your marketing will help more people than your training services probably ever will. If you get very accomplished at marketing, you can help more people in a very leveraged way, which if you're like me, if a social mission is important to you, for people that maybe will never be able to afford my services, you can still help a lot of people in a leveraged way, and that's awesome. And then yes, we will make enough income, and that's going to be different for each of you. I'll support whatever that is for you individually, and we'll have some freedom, right? Because also, your life is about more than your job, and I don't know about you, I like to work a lot. I love this. This feels like a calling. But sometimes I need to do things like this. Do I have your permission to show you something that's maybe going to be challenging to see? Okay. Because it's so adorable. Because it's so adorable. This is me and my daughter dancing to Encanto. We don't talk about Bruno. There wasn't a cloud in the sky. Oh my God, look at that little one. So here's the thing. I love to work, but I love my baby, right? And I only get some time with my baby. So whether you are a gym owner or you're an independent trainer or you're an employee, we need to have enough margin and enough success with our business, which starts with generating leads and getting clients, that we can do stuff like that, right? I think this is a good use of our Saturday. Let's begin. Before we dive in, just show of hands, who is familiar with Mark Fisher Fitness? Who knows who I am? It's okay if not all of you, great. Okay, so most of us, but not all. So for those unfamiliar, my name is Mark. I am most infamous for running a very strange gym in Midtown Manhattan called Mark Fisher Fitness. Our tagline is ridiculous humans, serious fitness. I did my very best to take the work of my mentors, the same people that you all look up to and learn from, and cover it in a chocolate sauce of madness and deliver it to my friends that were Broadway people and various assorted misfit toys. So we don't call our members clients, we call them ninjas. And it's not a gym, it's the enchanted ninja clubhouse of glory and dreams. And our mascot is the humble but majestic unicorn. And it is a tempered tantrum against nihilism. I love it very much, and we've had a lot of fun, and this part is a little gauche, but just to give you context, we've been open for 12 years now. We've been named one of Men's Health's top gyms in America. We've been listed as one of the fastest growing privately held companies in America. And we've done well north of $30 million to the point where I no longer keep track to the closest million. So we've done pretty good. Most of my day job is actually a company called Business for Unicorns. So that's the banner under which I fly today. And our mission is to help gym owners create more income, right? So they're not stressed out about the cash, create more impact and do a better job with our clients, and importantly, with our teams. So we're impacting our teams as well to support them to grow, and creating some measure of freedom so we get to live a life that is full and awesome. Chris Travis in the back there is on our team. He's a great guy to talk to if you've not met that guy. He's a killer. He owns many gyms in Seattle. You should talk to him if you want to talk to a smart business dude. Finally, and highly relevant to today's conversation, I'm a franchisee. So I don't just own a crazy unicorn gym in Manhattan. I also co-own a gym in northern New Jersey, a small group personal training franchise that's a very, very different model. So these three things together, I think, give me a somewhat unique vantage point to look at the industry at large, in that I spend all of my time learning, but also operating and practicing, and also teaching. I've done a lot of things right. I've done a lot more things wrong. And today I hope to help you learn from the various places where I have walked in front of you like a crash test dummy, taking the arrows in my throat for you, my friends. So these are some resources. I will reference these throughout today. If you want to grab these, the one I talk about a lot is the free offers. So if you want to QR code that, you're welcome to it. We're going to talk about offers a lot today. We're going to talk about offers a lot today. You need bait. Very often the issue a lot of people have when we start working with them is they're just not making offers, or you're just not doing a good job. I love you, but you're a good person, but a lot of you are doing probably not a good job yet with your offers, and this will give you some done-for-you things. You'll also get a digital copy of my book and the Raise Your Rates playbook. The other arrow I invariably pull from my quiver when I work with a gym owner is usually seeing how much you're charging. Because for a lot of you, that is the easiest path to immediately have a little bit more financial breathing room, because most people, forgive me, Father, I have sinned too, right? We really want to help people. I come from a very lower middle class, working class background. I had weird money stuff I just shared with you. I want my clients to be able to do it, but at the end of the day, you have to charge market rates. You can't be the best and be the cheapest. And if you need help with this, this is like a completely done for you, super tight 3 to 4 page document. You literally just copy paste it and you can charge your market rates without making your clients super mad at you. Let's play this game. So do me a favor, stand up if you own a gym. I just want to quickly understand the room. Stand up if you own a gym. Please stand up. Own a brick and mortar gym, thank you. Own a brick and mortar gym, keep standing, keep standing, keep standing. Hello, gym owners, great to have you here, hello. You may sit down. And now you own a fitness business that's online. Does anybody own an online fitness business? Yeah, some overlap here, and there will be overlap, that's great, okay, cool. You may sit back down. How about you own a fitness business that has employees? Stand up. Who owns a fitness business with employees? Great, and this will be relevant because some of the things we're going to talk about today is how to get your team to assist with generating leads and clients. That's important. You can sit down. Stand up for me if you work as an independent contractor. Any independent contractors in here? Yeah, I did this for years. Yeah, my people. So I did this for years. For many years, I rented space, and this is what I did. You may sit back down. So a lot of the stuff we're talking about today, admittedly, is a little bit more weighted to gym owners, but you're going to find a lot of stuff here that's going to transfer. Finally, my real people, stand up if you're an employee. Stand up if you're an employee. All right. Yes, okay, so this is sick. You may sit back down. So employees, I love everybody in this room. Employees, I appreciate you. This is awesome that you're here. This is amazing. I hope your boss knows you're here. This is super cool because this is a great way to be valuable to your business, and I'm excited to have you here. You will also find things that are useful. Now, let's talk about the agenda. We're going to do this real quick. So we're going to start off with some principles. There's 2 key principles, 2 models I want to start with. We'll talk about the hidden lead source that most people have and completely ignore. We'll talk about 3 ways to generate free leads. The way I see it, there's only really 3 ways to generate free leads, and I'll tell you what they are. And then finally, we'll talk about how to get prospects to take action. We'll talk about what a good offer is and the most common mistakes I see that are preventing your leads and prospects from actually moving forward with you. All right, so this is the income, impact, and freedom model. What are some observations of this? What are some things that you might observe about this? And you can't do this wrong, by the way. Do you ever like in a talk and you're like, oh, what plane of motion is it? And you're like, sagittal. And they're like, ha-ha, triplanar, right? You can't do this wrong. Like, whatever you say, I'm going to make you sound smart. What do you observe about this? It looks convoluted. Okay, well, that's rough feedback. Thank you, feedback. What else? What else? Everything good business needs, yeah. What else? It's very hard to get all that, right? Now, here's the thing to appreciate. Because we're talking about leads today, so now's a good time to acknowledge we're only talking about leads, and it's not just about leads. Right? I was talking to my buddy Chris about this before. Sometimes people that do what I do, sometimes, can get a little frustrated because you ask almost anybody, and what do you need? More leads. But in practice, if you get 1,000 leads, but the service isn't good, and you're not fulfilling well, and you don't have any way to leverage other people to help you, and you're not using your time properly, then we're not getting where we need to go. So I just want to say this once, that there's a lot of other things that are important for running a successful fitness business, whether it's a gym or even an independent contractor. But today, we're going to focus on leads and clients. Cool? Great. So now let's talk about the marketing funnel. The marketing funnel. This is a model that visually represents the fact that you have a funnel, right? Because there's a largest group of people that know you exist, a smaller percentage of them follow you, they start to have a relationship with you, they kind of like you, they trust you. Then a smaller percentage take some action, raise their hand. Then some of them do a trial. Some of them become a member, right? So the biggest part of the funnel is actually outside the funnel. The sad news is nobody has ever heard of you. I've heard of you. I love you. I think you're a great person. But nobody's ever heard of you. But I have good news, which is that doesn't matter. We're trying to become what Dean Jackson calls 3-mile famous. You got to be 5-mile famous. My online people, it's a little bit different. It's a different conversation. If you're online, you still want to be famous within a specific community, within a specific niche. But if you're a brick and mortar person, whether it's a gym owner or independent contractor, you're constrained by geography. There's only so many people that can find out about you. And what I want is if I walk into a hair salon or a gas station near where you train or you own your gym, and I say, hey, who's the best trainer in Yuppa-Duppa-Duppaville? Everyone's like, oh, it's Jimmy or whoever, right? You want to become 3-mile famous. Once people know you, they are part of your audience. But it's important to note, again, there's a lot of people that have heard of you and are maybe somewhat aware of you, but I wouldn't say they're necessarily like a prospect or lead for you. They just heard of you. That's where we start. So some subset of them are following you actively. So to my mind, for most of you in this room, that's basically going to be either they're subscribed to emails that you send out or they follow you on Instagram. Then some subset of them express meaningful interest. They raise their hand, usually in response to some kind of offer. But that is the next step. A lot of those people will not close the deal, right? And you all know this. This is self-evident. You've had people reach out and ask, hey, what's your prices? And then you maybe not sure how to answer that, and then they go and never hear from them again. We actually love these people. I'm going to give you my favorite strategy that no one's doing. I'm going to give you my favorite strategy that no one is using that is actually about this particular bucket of people. But some of them do the right thing, and they hire you. So they take action on whatever your first offer is. I call this the front-end offer. We'll be talking a lot about this in the final section of our time together today. Then some of them become a full-fledged member. They do your core offer. And some of them become your favorite clients that stay for 10 years. They refer all their friends. And you can't imagine your life without them. You love these people at the very bottom of the funnel. So this is our marketing funnel. This gives you the undergirding of our principles. And a lot of our time today is going to be spent on increasing the audience that knows you exist, generating the leads. But I want to start by talking about diamonds. Okay, raise your hand. Okay, I confess. Can I confess something? You know what I like? 1970s personal development. Raise your hand if you've heard the parable of the Acres of Diamonds. Anyone heard of Acres of Diamonds? Oh, this is a good one. This is a good one. in oldie times, there's a farm. And in this farm, we have farmer, we'll call him Mark Fisher 1. And he's got a farm, and he's doing farm stuff, and he's got crops, and he's kicking it with his wife and his kids, and he's doing pretty good, but he's a farmer, you know? And then Mark Fisher 1 notices all his friends, his other farmer friends, are getting out of the farm business. They're selling their farms, and they're mining diamonds. Apparently, there's a ton of diamonds in the area. So watching all his friends get super rich. They're buying up diamond mines. They're finding tons of mines. They are out of the farm business. So Mark Fisher 1 says, farms are for the birds. I'm getting out. So he finds a hapless boob. We'll call him Mark Fisher 2. He sells the farm to Mark Fisher 2. He brings his wife and his progeny, and he starts buying diamond mines. But alas, bad luck for Mark Fisher 1. He can't find any diamonds. He can't find any diamonds. So he buys one diamond mine, and then another, and he spends the rest of his life looking for diamonds, and he doesn't find any. His wife leaves him, his children are bereft, and he dies destitute and covered in herpes. Meanwhile, Mark Fisher 2, the hapless boob, is walking around the farm, and he keeps seeing these shiny rocks everywhere. So blah, 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 blah. There were diamonds in the farm. Silly Mark Fisher 1. So Mark Fisher 2 tended to the diamonds that were already in the farm. He had acres of diamonds. So this ridiculously overwrought metaphor speaks to the fact that a lot of us already have an audience of people that know us and like us and trust us, and we're not talking to them as much as we could. We're not making the offers that we could. We're not building the relationships, sharing value, and that's what I want to talk about first, because before we go out in the world, we want to talk to the people that know us. Or, as the poets TLC say, don't go chasing waterfalls. No TLC fans? Okay, so this is my buddy Jack. So Jack is a member of the Unicorn Society. I love this guy. Now, Jack is a classic example of the guy before he started working with us was very frustrated because he knew he was very good. He knew he was better than a lot of other people that had a lot more business. And the thing I love about Jack is a self-aware guy, and I suspect maybe similar to a lot of you, after we started working with him, he said something to the extent of, yeah, I kind of felt like I was marketing, but now I realize like I wasn't really marketing. Now, real talk, we're going to talk about the law of the farm a lot today. And Jack did a lot of things, but one of the things that Jack mentioned as very important was really leveraging his acres of diamonds, his existing contacts. And what that means is, in the first 5 months of the year, he hit his 2024 member goal. So he had net 45 members. That's net, not new members, net. 9 members beyond termination within the first 5 months of the year, right? Results are not typical. I'm not guaranteeing that this alone is going to do that for you, but I'm saying this is an absolutely killer strategy if you're not doing it yet. So let's talk about how to do this and be like Jack. So some of the people that already know, like, and trust you. Who here has clients that you've worked with that no longer work with you? Yeah, it's sad. Sometimes clients leave, right? On a long enough time scale, they all leave us. It's quite sad, really. But what happens is over time, you develop a list of people that presumably like and trust you, but for any number of reasons aren't currently working with you. You also have a lot of unconverted leads. Now, remember before I told you this is like actually my favorite bucket? Let me tell you why. Here's a super valuable strategy to play with. So I split unconverted leads into 2 buckets. We have declined for now. These are the people that have affirmatively told you, no thank you. They've opted in, they've called, they've walked in, and they've said, no thank you, I'm good right now. This isn't the right fit for me yet, right? And we like these people. We like these people. You know why? Because yeses give you business, nos give you time, maybes don't give you shit, because you got to keep following up with them. But that's okay, because we can keep following up with them. The ghosted people, the people that have expressed interest, they've either opted in on your website, they've walked into your facility and asked about your services, a friend of a friend emailed you to be like, hey, you're my friend's personal trainer, I'm interested to learn more about what it's like to work with you. These types of people, I think you should be hitting up every 6 to 8 weeks at most. So when somebody first opts in, the first 14 days, they're your freshies. You want to follow up a lot, But after that, instead of never talking to them again, I think every 6 to 8 weeks, listen, they gave you their, in most situations, name, number, and email. Go back to the well. Go back to the well. A lot of you just downloaded the offers list. Just keep trying different offers. Ultimately, people don't buy when we're ready. They buy when they're ready. Because to be clear, I'm going to talk about good offers, but a lot of the magic, it's not that the offer is so magical. It just happened to be the right time. Have you ever had a client, I'm sure some of you have, where you follow up with them a lot and they're like, oh, thank you for following up so much. I opted in, but I was so drunk that night. I was blackout drunk, so I forgot that I did it. And then I was going to get back to you, but then my kid got sick, right? For a lot of people, they want to work with you. It's just hard. It's hard out here, right? Like stuff happened. So if you follow up with them, it might be like, okay, good. Now is the moment. But it's only going to happen if you keep following up with them. And personal relationships, this is a bucket I think a lot of people miss, right? So here's the secret of Mark Fisher Fitness. Can I tell you the secret of Mark Fisher Fitness? So we did some zany, yes, thank you. So we did some zany numbers, okay? And part of that was because I knew a lot of people because I spent my 20s as an actor of middling success. I did, I think, probably between 40 and 50 shows before I was 30. That was a lot of shows. And I worked a ton of shitty, horrible jobs. So I just knew a lot of people. So when Mark Fisher Fitness launched, I had several thousand people in my network that I knew that I could say hello to. Most of you aren't going to be able to replicate that, but if the internet is to be believed, and the internet is always to be believed, the average person knows 600 people. 600 people. Now, are these all people you're going to market to? Maybe not. But my rule of thumb is if there was someone that you would say hello to in the grocery store, or if there's somebody that either realistically could maybe use your services or might know people that could use your services, we want to also have them in your acres of diamonds. We want to collate a database so these people are constantly, gently being reminded that you exist, who you help, how you help them, and what they should do if they're interested in learning more. So here's how you create this database. And for the most part, I'm talking about emails, though texts are very important in today's day and age. Getting numbers are important too, but right now I'm talking about developing an email database because we want to slow play this a little bit. I had a great distinction. I was having a conversation yesterday, and I had a great distinction, okay? Do you think it's possible to market too hard? I do. I know that was one of those ones you're like, is it yes? Is he going to say yes? Is he going to say no? I do. I think you can market too hard. In my experience, I've almost never seen it from people I work with. So I think it's possible, and I think most people are so far from that, it's almost not a consideration. But yeah, what I'm not saying to do is just start calling everybody you know regularly, trying to sell them, texting people that didn't explicitly ask about your gym or your training services. That would be weird. However, emailing people on the regular, maybe once a week, to give them valuable information and let them know what you do, I think that's okay. And I have another strategy I'm going to give you in a minute to make it less weird. But it starts with organizing this database. It won't take you that long unless you know a ton of people, and then if you do, that's awesome. But basically, you want to review your email contacts, your personal emails, your work emails. You want to look through your cell phone, literally look through your cell phone, the numbers you have in your phone. You want to review Facebook friends, Instagram followers, and to state the very obvious, if you have a booking and billing platform, all of those people are obviously explicitly professional contacts. You have two different ways to do this. You have like crude and dirty, in which case you just like export them, dump them in, and then you put them in an email service provider like ActiveCampaign or MailChimp. Now, that's dirty. The problem with that is I don't think it's wrong, but then you're going to be emailing the customer service representative you talked to 10 years ago because there's everybody in your email database. I think the better way to do it that's tedious if you have time is actually review these one by one because in practice, most of you don't know 10,000 people. It's not going to take you forever. And once you do this, you're good because going forward, you're going to keep track of your acres of diamonds. You're no longer going to just have people reach out and then never talk to them again. You're going to keep this organized. Some pro tips for this. So I mentioned, I don't want this to feel cringy for you because sometimes I get it. Like this could be a little borderline if you just start spamming people. So let's not do that. My suggestion is send them a warm-up email. So when I work with people, we give them a copy-pastable thing, but it's like not that complicated. Just be a human, right? Just email the people that you're going to be adding to this list and just acknowledge, hey, everyone, just want to give you a heads up. I'm going to be letting you know on the regular about some valuable things that can help you with your fitness that are coming from me, personal trainer, or I'm going to let you know about things that are going on in my gym. I think some of you might be interested in maybe doing with us at some point, but I really just want to give you value. I want to help you get answers to your questions and get better results with your fitness. You can expect to hear from me about X often with X kind of content that will give you X kind of benefit. If you'd like to unsubscribe, feel free to do so at any time. I won't even look. I like to do that so people don't feel pressured so they can actually unsubscribe. Because remember, the goal here is actually not to talk to people that don't want to hear from you. Right? Can we agree? I think we're on the same page about that. That's not the game, but if we're not willing to put ourselves out there, we don't get what we don't ask for. So I do think you want to cast a broad net here, but you want to make it okay for people to opt out. I usually suggest this comes from your personal email, BCC'd, because again, for most of you, it's not going to be 5,000 people, and if you do, that's epic. That's really cool. Then you want to stay in touch. This might be the stupidest, most reductive 3 words I have ever put in a presentation. Stay in touch. I'm referring to email marketing, which I could easily do 2 full days on because there's a lot of nuance in there to do that well. But for this to work, you want to stay in touch. Crudely, my rule of thumb is email people once per week. You don't have to write the great American novel. If you're active on Instagram, maybe just send them a link to some stuff you post on Instagram, and then you use some kind of PS to let them know. And if you're interested in working with me, here's the next steps if you want to find out more about my personal training services. And then finally, you make offers based on the segments, right? I'll hammer this again. If you have people that have expressed interest but haven't told you no, every 6 to 8 weeks, go back to the well. Go back to the well, and every time you do it, you're going to shake some of that delicious lead fruit from the lead tree. Let's talk about farms. I told you before, I love the law of the farm. Because I love 70s personal development. I love Jim Rohn. I love Stephen Covey. The law of the farm. Here's the other hard part about marketing lead gen, particularly when you're talking about people that don't know you. This just takes time. It just takes time. So I want to be very clear. There are no awesome shortcuts here, really. You cannot reap what you have not sowed. You must plant the seeds, you must till the earth, and then you can harvest. If we have not planted, if we've not tilled the earth, we shouldn't expect a bountiful harvest. So before we dig on into this, we're going to play a quick game. I want you to meet a new friend. We're going to do this very fast, by the way, because I want to keep you going and get you out of here on time. But the first strategy I'm going to give you for some of you is going to be scary. So I want you to go meet someone you do not know, and I'm going to give you like 90 seconds. Tell them real quick about your favorite client and what impact you think you had on them. So let's do this. When you find your partner, raise your hands and put your hand over your mouth. Otherwise, this will take 10 minutes. So when you find your partner, raise your hand. So when all hands are up in the room, then we'll move on. I will wait for all hands to be up. All hands to be up. I will wait until all hands are up. Until I see all hands are up, we'll just do this for the rest of the day. I will wait until I see all hands are up. All hands are up. All hands are up. All right. So here's the way this is going to work. You're going to do this on your own. Like I'm going to yell halfway, and then I'll yell stop. 90 seconds. Friendship, go! And you may sit back down. Great job, everyone. That was some really good friendshipping. You friendship the shit out of it. All right, everybody, we're going to move on from here. So I wanted to do that because, again, I want to keep getting you juiced up about the impact you can make on people's lives, because here's the thing. There's only really a couple ways you can get leads that are not paid. Paid leads is a great way to do it. It's not going to make sense for all of you in this room. But the only thing you really have left is talking to strangers. You can ask for referrals, but that's only going to work if you have a lot of clients. So personal trainers particularly, you're usually not going to be dealing with 175 people at once. So if you're not doing paid ads and you don't have tons of clients to refer, and maybe you haven't been doing it long, so you don't know tons of people already, you're going to have to meet strangers. As I've mentioned, This was something that MFF quite honestly didn't do super great because we didn't have to. Now, here's a good point for you. You don't have to do all the things. You shouldn't do all the things. So you all got that book in the little baggie. And if you look at it, there's a lot of things in there you could do. The biggest mistake would be to try to do all of them. You don't need to do all of the things. But I have to tell you, again, if you need new leads and you don't have paid ads and you don't have a lot of clients and you don't know a lot of people and you don't have a lot of former clients and unconverted leads, you're going to have to meet strangers. One of the terrible jobs I had when I needed to have money, actually the first job I got at the Village Voice when I was flipping through it, is I had a job, I kid you not, in Manhattan. I would stop random women on the street and sell hair salon promotions. This was a weird time, and this was a weird crew of people that were doing this professionally. I'm not going to lie. I was really good at it. And this is the olden days. We didn't have no Stripe. I was like, give me your credit card, you know? And this was, by the way, this was like a really crazy time because this crew of people, they were some degenerates. They used to actually go into the ice cream truck and they would drink G and snort ketamine. In 2002, this is a weird time. These people were out of their minds. I was like, what am I doing here? I'm like just got to New York. I'm like, do you want to buy a hair salon promotion? But here's the thing. I got very good at it because I believed in what it was. Now, unfortunately, I later found out that when they got in the salon, it was like a high-pressure pain pointy thing, which I didn't like, so then it sucked, and I had to quit immediately because I was like, well, now I can't sell this. But I have a little experience stopping random people on the street, and this is a strategy a lot of you might want to consider. And I share this with you because at Alloy, we had to do this, right? Alloy didn't have former clients. I didn't have people I knew. It's not a personally branded business. We did do a lot of paid ads, but you can't rely on paid ads if you're trying to do a pre-sale. If you've ever opened up a business, you got to also go talk to the people. So this was interesting because I had to bring my team into the parking lot. So I'm like, I'm going to go to New Jersey for the day. I'm going to lead from the front. I've done this. I've talked to the women's and gotten them to give me their credit cards for the hair salon promotions. So we marched proudly into the Stop and Shop parking lot. And I'm like, I'll show you how it's done. And then Alex, one of my trainers, sweetest guy you can imagine. And I kid you not, like the third woman he talks to, reams him out. She's like, you can't do this. This is illegal. And then marches to the front of the Stop and Shop to talk to a police officer to try to get beloved Alex arrested. So this is a worst case scenario, but guess what? It doesn't matter because the cop was like, get out of here, lady. And by the way, if the cop came over, guess what I would do? I'd sell him a membership, right? So you have to be willing to put yourself out there. Like that is the worst case scenario. If you do this, remember, it's sort of the balance, right? I'm not saying be aggressive. I'm not saying run up to people's cars. That's a bad news, right? Don't be like chasing after them with a flyer. But at the same time, if you're like, I hope people find my gym or me as a trainer, but I don't want to bother you, you will not eat and you will lose your house and I'll feel sad, right? So you have to be willing to put yourself out there. Here's how we do this. For most of you, you'll need the physical collateral, right? You'll create a card, a flyer, a postcard. We use business cards. You want contact info and QR code. I like email, phone number, but what I really like, a QR code that goes to a simple landing page that captures their name, phone number, and email for whatever the offer is. Right now, we're offering 2 free workouts. I don't like that offer for most of you most of the time. We'll talk about it in the next session. But remember, these people haven't found us. They're not coming to us. And it's pretty easy to offer 2 free workouts. If you like fitness and you live in the area, you might have some interest in it. And if you're not interested in 2 free workouts, well, then we really have nothing to talk about. Though I love you and I wish you well and I hope you have a good day. So you'll need whatever your compelling offer is, and then you go and meet the strangers. So let me put a little bit more meat on this bone. You do need a script, I think. This becomes particularly important if you have anybody else working for you and them doing it. So again, when we work with people, I give them a very fleshed out, detailed script, but I'll give you a little bit to get you started. You need an open, and my suggestion for your open is, hey there, hi, do you live in the area? And body language matters here, right? Like I think actually giving people a little space, I'm not running up to them as they get out of the car, particularly in New Jersey, because they might shank you, right? So, hey there, do you live in the area? And I'm smiling, and I'm well presented, and I'm branded out the wazoo. And then if they say yes, then with this particular offer, would you be interested in 2 free workouts? And then from there, then I can start telling them about I own a gym called Alloy Personal Training. It's right over here. Our UVP, blah, 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 right? So I do think you need to have a tight script because, again, people are busy. They don't want to talk to you a lot. Some people are going to politely decline. Some people are going to rudely decline, and that's okay. That's part of the game. I operationalize this and make it a goal to talk to 10 strangers per week. Now, that's not give away 10 cards, right? That's not like, hey, Alfredo, do you want some cards? You want 10 cards? Okay, I got to go. Okay, I did it. No. This is a proxy for a conversation. Remember, we're taking them from never heard of you to I've heard of them. Your goal is to have a good encounter, spread energy, spread good vibes, have a warm encounter so they start to have some awareness of what your brand is, right? So again, gyms have to do this at scale. Personal trainers, actually it's a little bit easier. It's a little bit easier. Now you might not do 2 free workouts. You might, based on how much room you have in your schedule, that might be the right offer. But if you really need scale, you have to do a lot of this. But understand, if you do 10 of these per week, and you have maybe 2 team members do it with you, and you do 30 per week, that's 4,500 people over 3 years. So again, law of the farm, baby. Law of the farm, baby. Over 3 years, a lot of markets, depending on where you live, you're good. 4,500 people. Some of you, that's the total addressable market based on where you live. So this is going to take time, but if you do this, you will obliterate obscurity. You will become 3-mile famous. Hard mode is get contact info. I don't start with that for most of you most of the time because in the beginning, I just want you to practice saying hi to people you don't know. Right? I get it. Some people, this is very scary, but hard mode, you get that contact info. Orange Theory, this is how they built their business. Orange Theory is if you're the front desk person making a minimum wage, you go get me 5 new contact informations per day or I fire you. Right? Meanwhile, we're trainers. We're like, I don't want to bother you, right? Well, I hope Orange Theory doesn't open up by you because they're going to eat your lunch because they're very intense about this. Now, I'll concede it's a different time now when they started that. Further, Orange Theory obviously has some brand awareness that a lot of you with love just don't, right? They have obliterated obscurity. However, the real goal here is to get contact info, right? So if you can get in a conversation and be like, cool, what's the best number to contact you at? That's the way to do it. You just look down and you wait, right? And a lot of them will say no, but you don't get in life what you don't ask for. If you have a team, you can make this responsibility, but you got to train them up. You got to give them a script, and you got to inspect what you expect. You got to do role plays, and you have to operationalize this. So at Alloy, this is a weekly scorecard for each person on my team. If you hit your number, it turns green. I give you a dopamine cookie. I give you a gold star. If you don't, it's going to turn red in the conditional formatting. And now we're going to talk about why. Maybe I gave you too many other things to do. I'm not saying you did something wrong, but we must inspect what we expect. For the handful of you that have team members, this is a great way to leverage them. But think about this. A lot of you are frankly feeling scared about this. Your team is going to feel really not amazing about it. So you really have to role play them. And you have to lead from the front. You probably have to join me, take them in the Stop and Shop, so that way when they have the cops called on them, you can be the one to talk to the nice police officer. All right, stand up. I'm going to pick some volunteers. Stand up. Everyone stand up. Because we have to practice this. I want to make this real for you, right? So we have a script. So I want to practice this. I'm going to bring 3 of you up to the front of the room. Okay? I'm going to pick you at random. And then I'm going to just have you go through your version of the script. I realize I didn't give you time to practice. That's not nice of me. But I'm going to bring you up there. You already know the open. And I want you to try out, and we're all going to watch you do your best to explain what is the unique value proposition, why people should work with you. And we're all going to evaluate you. And we're not going to do that. You may sit down. You may sit down. I just wanted to give you a shot of adrenaline because it's the afternoon. So now with me, inhale through the nose. Big inhale through the nose. And exhale out. You're not going to go to the front of the room. You will sit there in anonymity, safe anonymity. Sorry, for those that find that unethical, sorry. But you're really back with me now, right? Okay. So we're going to move through these next 2 a little more quickly, but referrals is a great strategy. And again, this obviously works better. It's a volume game, the more clients you have. There's 2 types of referral offers, okay? I think you need an evergreen referral offer that's always available, and you need limited time pulse that will really highlight a real big incentive to drive referrals. So your evergreen referral offer is an obvious and easy way for a client friend to get started. It's going to look different for a lot of you. Again, if you have a group model, maybe it is 2 free workouts. I don't know. And then you want to thank you to the client. It could be maybe a credit off their next monthly membership, maybe a thank you card that your team writes. We want to operationalize this because if people drive business for you and you're not in the habit of thanking them, they will feel like at least like unappreciated, right? We don't want that. So this is mostly about operationalizing the thanks. Most of your clients are not going to be like, well, I wasn't going to give you a client, but $50 off my next monthly membership. Well, now I'll refer my friends to you. It doesn't work like that. So this is not about driving behavior. It's about giving an obvious way for the friend to get started and to make sure you always say thank you because that's polite. Now, I will say this. The existence of an evergreen referral offer will not drive behavior in and of itself, but it does give you something that you can bake into the system. Again, today is not about customer service or systems, razor-sharp systems. That's one of our 9 tenets. But you could set this up so you ask people, who would you like to bring to your strategy session? Or they sign up for a trial. Would you like anybody to join you for the trial? Fitness is better with friends, which happens to be expedient for you and actually factually true for behavior change. Somebody signs up at point of sale. Maybe you remind them about the referral offer there. Maybe 30 or 60 or 90 days in when you have your very dialed in 90-day onboarding that I'm sure each and every one of you have, and you do your phone call check-in to make sure they're having an amazing experience, that is another chance, while they're peak happy and it's new but they're in a groove, to invite them to bring in a friend. Additionally, I like using limited time referral promos because these will drive behaviors. So essentially the way to think about this is periodically, maybe every 6 months, you really give them an extra incentive. It's cooler for the friends and cooler for the clients. So examples here are free month for a client friend. Maybe you get the nice metal cards, which you can find online, and you, instead of in just 2 free workouts, their friend gets a free month. Or a usually paid trial is a free trial. Your pro tip here, if people can do things whenever, they do them never. I'm going to ask you that again, and you're going to say it out loud. Hey, everyone, I'm wondering, if people can do things whenever, when will they do them? Never, right? So they need a claim by date and a start by date. A claim by date and a start by date. This is what I see often goes wrong with this one. We give the client a thing, but they can do it whenever, and their friend can start whenever. So you want a claim by and a start by date. If you do group, I love a bring a buddy week. Don't do it every month. People will stop coming, and it'll be noise. But maybe every 6 months, maybe 4 months, 8 months, I don't know. You'll figure out your marketing calendar. If you have unlimited, listen, if you got the room, if the friends usually can get maybe a discounted trial, train as much as you want for free this week. Great way to meet your friends. I also like the give to get contest. Does anybody here do a large group model? Raise your hands. Okay, only a few of you. I'll just say very briefly because this is a complicated model and you need capacity to do this. But I like this. This is when you incentivize behaviors like submitting names, leaving a Google review, tagging on social media, and then you either do a point system or you do a raffle, and then you give away things like a flat screen TV or a barbecue or a Yeti cooler. You can set up a beautiful stand in your facility to really drive eyeballs to it. So that's awesome, but it does require a lot of operational chops. And if you want more things, you've seen this before, the offers list is going to help jog your brain about the various offers you can make for referrals. Raise your hand high if you know what this is. Okay, some of us at least. This is the iconic movie Predator, which most film critics would say is the zenith of Western society culture. I put it up there because now we're going to talk about business partnerships. Business partnerships. So I like business partnerships, but they're a lot harder than they seem. I think of this about you got 2 kinds of businesses you can work with. You have your geographic partners, which are nearby. So if you're in a strip mall, the coffee shop, the dry cleaners, the restaurant, those are people that potentially you could promote each other's businesses. And then you have demographic partners. These can bear a broader proximity, but they have the same avatar as you. So this might be a supplement store, meal delivery, recovery spa, chiropractor, people that also serve your avatar, whatever that is, right? So these are the two types of business I think you should make a list of. And then here's the hard part. Because anyone here ever tried to do a business partnership? Raise your hand if you ever tried to do a business partnership. A couple of you tried. Yeah, it's like hard. I don't know. I did this for a long time. I was like, am I an idiot? Like, why is this not working? I don't know. I listen to all people do what I do, and I'm like, I don't know. They all say, like, do it. And they're all like, oh, it's great. We're just doing all these leads. I'm like, am I an idiot? I figured it out. You just have to do 100 times more than you think. So my crude ratio is you're going to get 1 out of 20 businesses to play ball. So if you want 3 businesses to have a really good promotion, because when you get it, baby, it is like striking oil. Like you can get 50 leads, you can get 100 qualified leads from one good partnership, but you might have to talk to 50 businesses. So how do we operationalize this? I think you got to talk to maybe 2 to 4 new businesses per month. If you have bandwidth, maybe more. If you're doing a pre-sale, probably do that per week. Because remember, a lot of people are not going to play ball. They're just not as dialed in as you. They're not that weirdly interested in growing their business maybe. It's like a value extraction. They don't know you. They think maybe you suck, right? There's a lot of things that go into this. So I love this strategy, but this is not an overnight play at all, right? Frankly, if I'm like, you're desperate, if you're desperate, I'm going to say, let's do paid ads. But secondly, let's just go meet people one-on-one. However, this is high risk, high return. You might waste a lot of time for a while, but when you get it right, it's like striking oil. It can be awesome. You also have to keep up with the old friends. So this is not a thing that will work. It's not like you go in to the massage therapy place and you're like, oh, it's great, yeah, here, I'll do 3 emails for you, amazing. Sometimes maybe, but in general, you have to develop the relationship over time. And even if you do get paid dirt right away, well, that's even more important to keep up with the friendship. I also think the other strategy here is to help first. Because here's the other weird thing that nobody ever says is the barrier. Like you're like, oh yeah, I'm supposed to do business partnerships. Yeah, Mark says do business partnerships. And then you go to the meal delivery service and they're like, well, I would like to help you, but I don't know. I'm also working with Orange Theory. It's like, I can't really do anything for you. But you can send out stuff to your clients, right? It's like the bad date. It's like, you can service me, but I'm not going to service you, right? So your move here is just help first. Just help first. Just be so generous that eventually they feel awkward, right? Be so generous that eventually the law of reciprocity will kick in and they'll start to feel really weird because you're like, you keep buying my shit, you keep tagging my business on your social media, right? You keep checking in with emails, you keep promoting me to your clients. Okay, right? So I think the move here is just make it not transactional. Anybody read the book Go Giver? Oh, I love that book. Yeah, Go Giver. It's so good. Just be the Go Giver. Just be like, I'm just going to be the most valuable business in my neighborhood. My buddy, some of you might know my pal, Dr. Sean Pastuch. He has an amazing gym in Long Island, and I went and hung out with him a couple weeks ago, and it was amazing. He was like the mayor. He was like, my goal is to be the most valuable business to the other businesses of Long Beach, full stop. So I think if you go with that aggressive generosity, it will work. Now listen, to help first, time is a constraint. So you do have to ask for help at some point. But I think if you go, buy their things, tag them on your social media, and just be so aggressively friendly, and again, you're just giving it all away. Same thing like meeting the people on the street. My goal is to lift you up and be helpful to you. And then listen, I trust it's going to come back. And maybe it's not going to come back from you specifically, but it's going to come back karmically, and also it feels good to give. And I know that. You're fitness pros. So let's talk about offer here. I'm going to do this section quick because I want to get you out of here. You need to have some bait. You need to have some bait. So one issue I often see is one, either there's no obvious offer, or two, it's just not that compelling, or three, maybe we have that in, but we're not cycling through other versions, other time-sensitive promos to shake the lead fruit from the lead tree. We're focusing, however, right now on the core thing. What is the first thing you want people to do? Let me tell you my guy, Drew. So quick story about Drew. Drew's the best. So Drew is another Seattle gym owner in the Unicorn Society. And Drew, by his own admission, we first started working with him. He loved learning, but he liked learning about program design and queuing and coaching. And his business was growing super slowly, but he felt correctly, who cares? It's cool. I own a business. This is amazing. I own a business. And you should. That's cool. But then the pandemic happened. So in August of 2020, Drew, God love him, is building out a new location. He's doing a build out in August of 2020. He also, and he's public about this, is going through a very difficult divorce. So a lot of capacity is handling that, and his revenue is now below 10,000, which I know for some of you might sound like a lot. In Seattle, it's not the best. So he signs up for the Unicorn Society, and again, two things are true. One, he started making offers, right? He started making offers. But two, again, law of the farm, baby, law of the farm. Drew is like a steady guy, steady, just executing month over month over month. So he is now north of 36K per month, so he's more than 4X'd. And importantly, he has over 200 members. He's helping a lot of people. So again, I want to be clear, there's no magic bullet. It's all silver bullets. But if I can offer a silver bullet, make some offers. Let's talk about what this looks like. Let's be like Drew. So front-end offers, I think of this as two buckets. You have option one is a low barrier offer, try before you buy. I want to try your workouts. I don't know if I'm supposed to work out. I want to try some workouts, or I want to have a conversation to see, I don't know, but I'll talk to you, but I'm supposed to work out, I don't want to, let's have a chat. Option two is what I call a premium price front-end offer, a promise they can taste and touch and point to. This tends to be more expensive, it tends to be more valuable, it tends to require more sales skill, and it's of interest to a smaller percentage of the people to outreach. They both can play a role, and I'll tell you about them now and how to think about which one you might do. So good front-end offers are going to share this. It's an obvious way to get started because if you confuse, you lose. If I go to your website, I want to know who do you help, how do you help them, and what exactly do you do next? What is the exact thing you want them to do first? Usually we have a short duration, short in quotes. A premium price front-end offer could be as long as 6 weeks. It might be as fast as a phone call depending on what your move is, but they're not making a big commitment yet, right? It also is going to have low risk and a guarantee. I like 100% money back guarantee. I think it's great because in practice, if you have a bad time, I'm sorry, I don't want your money, I'll give it back to you. I'll help you find another place. So I recommend doing your best to remove risk. And also understand losing money is not the only risk. You're also risking losing time, losing energy, and feeling stupid. So when you think about your offer, how it's constructed, it's not just risk of losing money. The bigger issue for a lot of clients is losing time, losing energy, and feeling stupid. So when you think about your offer, you want to think, how can I set it up to remove all of those risks? And it wants to be compelling and high value. It wants to be something that, relatively speaking, obviously free versus $1,500 is going to be different, but it should feel high value for whatever it is. So for a low barrier offer, try before you buy. This is going to be 30 days or less than $100, 100% money back guarantee, and it's going to have a strategy session because you always need the consultative sales conversation to give them guidance because most people, it's not just workouts. They need more guidance for whatever their goals are, and it's also an opportunity to begin to future pace them into the next thing, the big thing. If you want me to tell you what to do, if you're a large group or small group, do 14 days of unlimited training for $99. Whatever you got, 14 days, unlimited training. It's going to feel very valuable to them. I think it feels more valuable than 6 workouts over such and such. Just make it unlimited and then be the coach. When they talk to you, prescribe, you're going to work out Monday, Wednesday, Friday, Tell them when to work out and how often to work out. That doesn't work for one-on-one. If you do one-on-one, as a rule, I like 3 training sessions for $99. Now you can play with this. If you want to do 2, fine. Is it as valuable? No, but again, you know your life, you know your business. Another spectrum. The more leads you need, if you're not getting any lead flow and you really need leads and ain't nobody talking to you, that's probably not the time to be like, I'm 100 value. It's like nobody knows what you do. Nobody wants to work with you. Make it compelling, right? Lower the barrier. It's very easy on the other end if you're like, I'm getting more leads than I can even service, and a lot of them are maybe not the quality I want. Well, now we can raise up the barrier, right? That's how I believe you should think about this. Sports performance, as a rule, I don't usually love free. I prefer a paid $99 assessment. A lot of you know my business partner, Pete Dupuy at Cressy Sports Performance. They do that. A lot of our most successful sports performance gyms all run this play. I would note, this is why it's hard for me, because I talk to a lot of different peoples. If you do sports performance, raise your hand if you do sports performance. Please appreciate your Gen Pop clients are not going to be excited about your assessment. I see this happen a lot. At sports performance, it's so valuable. I'm going to evaluate you. I'm going to assess you. I'm going to look at you. I'm going to tell you where you're dysfunctional. No, that avatar doesn't like it. Sports performance? Yeah, maybe. Yeah, because you're like, oh, I want an assessment. Oh, you're going to help me with my vertical, right? You're going to help me with like whatever. That's a different game. And then again, free class, free session, free week. I usually don't like this, but if you have a large group model and you have a lot of capacity to do a lot of follow-up with very low barrier, you're going to get a lot of tire kickers. And if you have automations, which you all probably should have anyway, then I think this could work. But I usually don't like it. But don't do it. Okay, so the premium price front-end offer. Defined endpoint program, benefit outcome focused. It is often but not always fat loss. It's a very quantifiable thing. A lot of people want fat loss, usually wrapped as a challenge, a transformation, a kickstart. It's usually 4 to 6 weeks, simply because 2 weeks you're usually not going to get that much of a result. This is not great if they're like, I just want to try your workouts. Usually, again, if you're good at sales, this is usually where I probably want you to go. If you're not good at sales, do the low barrier offer. It's easier for you. If you're proficient at sales, let's sell them the thing. But remember, some people don't have a bleeding neck, right? Not everybody's coming in, you know, again, like not everybody's coming in and like they're in such pain. Your clients are in such pain. If you don't sell your clients, they're going to go down the road and they're going to die and it's going to be your fault, right? It's like not everybody's actually suffering from a bleeding neck. And I don't actually like the idea of I'm going to make you feel so shitty you buy my thing, right? I don't think that's the move, but there are people that are in a lot of pain. And it is true, people pay more for a painkiller than a vitamin. And most people start moving away from what they don't want. Your job as a coach, get them in the positive motivational hot tub climate, right? Let's move them towards the future they want. But a lot of people are starting with like, I don't know where I want to go, but it's not here. That's okay. That's okay. We can start there, right? And this could be a great thing if they're looking to move. So you can charge money for this, $499, $799, $1,500 in a lot of markets, no problem, particularly if you're good at sales. This will need some coaching baked in, like just giving them workouts and hoping they come. That's not it. You're going to need to be on them. And I think at this price point, you can afford to service that. Again, you're going to have a strategy session because all front-end offers need a system for making the core offer. Follow-up is going to matter regardless. I think most of you will need automations soon. But again, I like first 14 days, you're my freshie. I'm going to front load the first day. I'm going to front load the first 3 days. And I'm going to text, call, and email. I'm going to spice it up. I'm going to hit you at least 20 times in the first 14 days. If you don't do anything, I love you. I miss you. You go back in the box. Guess what happens in 6 weeks? I'll come back again with another offer for you. And then finally, make occasional time-sensitive offers. Again, every 6 weeks, I'm circling back up, shaking the lead tree, because they're not going to buy when I'm ready, but maybe now they're ready, and I want to be there when they are. All right, so we're just about done. Just about done. So, at the risk of being, I don't want to be a buzzkill. I want to share a little story about my life right now, about what's going on in my life, because the last thing I want to do is I want to, with so much love, I want to just kick you in the ass just gently with like love to take action on this, because there's two things that are true that are conflicting. I want you to obey the law of the farm and understand nothing of value is going to happen overnight. You can't grow a massive personal training business or a massive gym overnight. It just takes time. But it's also true, I don't want you to delay. And sometimes there are people with really big hearts that I love in this business that tolerate not seeing progress year over year over year, and you come in and you're not doing the thing to move the thing forward. Ultimately, you're in charge of your life. You get to decide, but I want you to obey the law of farm, and I want you to not delay. Because, first of all, there's a financial cost to not doing this as efficiently as you can, right? Because money compounds. So money that you don't have over the next 3 years is not going to compound and 8x in the next 21 years, which is the standard market return, right? But ultimately, what you don't get back is time. So in the past couple of years, I have lost my mother, my father passed away in March, and I am hyper aware that I do not get time back. I get 1 summer with my daughter being 2. This is the advantage of being an old dad, right? I'm on the old dad train. So I get it now, right? I'm on the old dad train. All my other dads are like, oh, you better enjoy it. All my other dads are like, it's going to go so fast. I was like, I know. I'm not a young dad. I get it. Like, this is the only summer I get my daughter at 2 on the Jersey Shore for a week. It's gone. It's smoke already. It's already gone, right? So the reason I want you to delay is, yes, I want you to make money. And yes, I want you to help the world, but I want you to, whatever your celestia is, I want you to have that time for those people, right? And you deserve it. You're a helper. You're a helper. You deserve it. So help those people, but make sure you're taking the action. So here's the thing. I'm not even going to talk about this because this is mostly for gym owners, but I'll say briefly, we have a 12-week marketing sprint. If you want to find out more, come find me. This is just about leads and clients. The goal is to add 3 to 5K per month in recurring revenue, and I'll work with you if you don't get there by the end. We also have a coaching group called the Unicorn Society. That's where we do all of these things. This is mostly for slightly more established gym owners. We do ask you to be around 15K per month minimum. If you want to find out more, come find me, come find Chris. But I want to bring us up here. I want to thank Perform Better. I want to thank Chris. It is one of the great honors of my career to be associated with this organization. And I'm going to ask you a very specific request. Actually, and maybe Chris can jump in if he's like, no, don't do that. I get it. Like, you want to save your money, right? I'm a gym owner, right, Chris? We talk to gym owners all the time. We're trying to help you save expenses. If you think you can do better and find a cheaper product, you should talk to those guys first. Just talk to Perform Better first. You always want to bias them because one thing I've learned in my career, it's the game is the people, right? You want to find the right people, the right partners. They are the right people. They are the right partners. It's amazing they do this event, but please do me a favor and buy their shit. As Rachel said, if you live in the area, they don't want to take their stuff back, go buy their stuff now, and you can put it in your car and take it with you. I want to thank you. I'm going to come back to you in 1 second here. I want to say, again, you already find these resources, but if you want some other stuff, I have a YouTube channel at markfisheryoutube.com. We also have a podcast that my non-sexual life partner, Michael Keeler, has if you want me to go in your ear holes. It's my non-sexual life partner. We grew up together as kids in the Jersey Shore. I love that guy. Feel lucky to have him. And I feel lucky to have you, because this is why we do it. You unreasonable people, you did not optimize for money. You did not optimize for maximum freedom. You optimized for impact. You're my people. You silly, silly people. And I just want to say, your job is so hard. There's so much emotional labor. There are 1,000 silent, thankless acts of heroism you do every day. Because when you're a trainer, I know it. When you spend 20 minutes after the session, you're so tired. But your client got in a big fight with your husband. You're just going to be there. You're going to be there. You're going to be in service, right? Or you call the physical therapist over and over, and they're not getting back to you. And you know, even if they do, they're going to say, like, I think their hip flexors are tight. But you're doing your very best to get in touch with a physical therapist because you want to do a great job. Or you wake up in the morning, you slept crappy, and your Oura Ring says you slept like poop, and you're just pounding coffee because you know it doesn't matter. It's go time. I'm going to help these people. You, my helpers, I love you. I feel lucky to help the helpers. I say this every time I get to present. My sword is sworn to your house. Thank you so much for what you do. I know it's so hard. I know it's not easy. If there's anything I can do, either formally or if I never talk to you again and maybe you can just follow that content, that'd make me feel very, very good. And if you hate marketing, let's hate marketing together. Then we can all be lighthouses. Thank you so much. Thank you, thank you, thank you.